When My Hero Academia dropped Chapter 1 many years back, I was among some of the first to read it. I read up to like the first 6 chapters or so when it first started being released, and I was like, wow, this seems really interesting. I bet it's going to make a great anime. So I stopped reading it. And since Season 2, I've been covering this show on the channel. So for about 6 years now, I've had every year coming back to My Hero Academia to talk about it. And throughout the years, I've seen many opinions of this show, ranging from it's the best of the best to generic trash and we should dispose of it. And I've always had a base level of My Hero is just fun. There's arcs that are better, there's arcs that are worse. There's sometimes I wish characters would get more spotlight than others. But at the end of the day, My Hero has become one of the most fun things that I consistently know will pop up in my anime feed for 2 seasons out of a year. And I'm going to be incredibly sad when it goes away. But the thing is at no point have I ever considered My Hero Academia bad. Like, at no point. It's always been at the base level fun for me. Some people disagree with that statement. That's their opinion. They're allowed to have it. But there's also been these moments where I've truly thought it's been exceptional. It's always been at least fun, but it also had these moments of excellence. And I especially think last season was one of those. And usually, at least once per season, there's a moment that you're like, did All Might just do that? Did Shigaraki just do that? Did this character blow my mind as they did? And I honestly think this is the best endgame you could possibly ask for My Hero Academia. There's going to be a lot of things that will happen with many characters, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, to see what they did with Season 6, and how so far, being 4 episodes into Season 7, it is banger after banger after banger after banger of just doing it perfectly. What they ended up doing with the traitor is so incredible to me. And like I said last week, the dynamic of someone who had no control over his life since minute 1, being manipulated and forced because of a parent's decision, to wanting to just have these friends, and the way they're going about building up this final hurrah. All-out war is basically here. And the more I see of this endgame and how they're establishing what's been set up, the more I truly believe My Hero Academia has cracked a perfect endgame formula for what it's trying to do. And I know that anytime I talk about My Hero, someone in my comment section will tell me about a controversy. And at the end of the day, none of these controversies have actually bothered me personally. So until they do, or something truly upsets me, I'ma say it. My Hero Academia is one of the most consistently fun shows that I watch every year, and I truly think it's cracked the code for a perfect endgame. I am so excited to see where they're going to take it, and of course I have full live reactions over on Patreon. If you want to see my full and thought to any of these wonderful episodes, it's going to be over there exclusively. So, we had a bombshell last week. It was a bait, oh my god, Invisible Girl, how could you do this, to oh my god, it was actually him, the character I've never took seriously this entire show. And then when you actually go back, oh my god, he's always looking at the camera, he's never looking at, it's like, there is some attention to detail that can actually blow your mind when you take a step back. But what they're doing makes sense. Most of the adults in that room are like, sure, we get it, but he committed crimes. And thank God for old Eraserhead being like, I'm his homeroom teacher and I actually support the kids in this case. Because, especially for him, he's gone up against many villains and he can tell who's been manipulated and who needs help. And I think that scene of him talking in terms of like the glasses in between them and the interrogation of trying to rip that fear away about how you're not alone anymore is just such a powerful moment. But it's just the build up throughout this episode that really impresses me, because this is the type of characterization you want to see. Now the thing is My Hero has a very large cast of characters, so not every character is going to have the same type of development as Bakugo, Todoroki, Deku, they're more of the central focus, but there is a lot of characters because it's a school of superheroes, so it's going to be a lot of characters, and I think if you don't have as many as you do, it feels a lot less full of life. But of course, if you've gravitated towards, oh, I really like so-and-so, they didn't get as much, you might find it to be a bit more of a disappointment. But the reason why I think it feels so good, seeing some of the shots, like especially with Aizawa talking, being like, you're not alone, and then you see the spread of all these heroes, it's like, I just feel so happy. And I know my heart's gonna rip and probably shatter throughout this arc, so I'm just enjoying it while I have it, because To see someone who I just go from thinking is a meme and a laughingstock. Now, he's not as bad as Great Boy, who is probably the most useless of characters in this show. But all he does is make weird remarks and fire a navel laser. Like, it's like, I'm not really thinking much of him. But to see someone who had rich parents make dumbass decisions to trust the black market to give their son a quirk and force him into basically a life of slavery where he's worried one wrong move he'll blow up. He doesn't want to upset his parents because he loves them, doesn't want to betray his newfound friends that he thinks aren't actually his friends but wishes they were. It is a very tough pill to swallow, and the idea of the characters collectively wanting, like, maybe they want to punch him upside the head. Hey, you're the reason so and so happened, but it's like he had a gun to his head his whole life. It's not like he just randomly decided one day, I'm gonna be evil. It's like he didn't choose this. It was forced upon him, and what was he supposed to do, right? It's like, now he's trying to atone. He's like, I got caught, I can't do anything. But the idea and the plan they have is the best they're gonna have. Is it gonna work out flawlessly? Of course not, otherwise it'd be a walk in the park. But wanting to keep All For One and Shigaraki 10 kilometers away from each other, because if they get too close to each other, it's game over. You have all the extra people that they're gonna have to fight that are going to try to stop them. One wrong move and the dominoes fall and they're screwed. Because we have to keep them at such a ridiculous distance that they're not going to want to, and we also have to deal with all their underlings, especially some who can create forest fires that are pretty much, you ain't going to put that out. At the end of the day, they had some fun this episode. Actually, the first half of the episode was actually pretty fun at the end of the day. The butthole face joke was fantastic. Like, it's not the first time we've seen some silliness, but it's the fact that, like, their faces literally go inverted to the point that it looks like they have a butthole for a face. And that's funny, it's whatever, but it's the fact that they run out and and it's like nothing happened. They're deadass having the most serious conversation and the glasses are like broken, and I'm like, I don't know who decided to make that joke linger that long, but then when it pops out, I'm like, oh. We're not going to have many moments for this type of comedy left in this show, and I loved every single second. They try to go get their gear repaired, and she's like, nah, I can't do it. Later, bitch. And then somehow she does it casually with one arm as she's working on the barrier of the levitation device. It's just like this is some early My Hero Academia energy, and I love it, like some season 2 or 3 energy. And I don't know, it's like a calm before the storm in a way. It's the preparation, it's the setup, but like the more I see, the more I look at season 6 and what we've seen of season 7 as like the proper perfect endgame for a show like My Hero Academia. And the thing is like, I'm not even saying My Hero Academia is a masterpiece. I just think it's one of the most consistently fun shows I've had the pleasure of watching. And as long as you can make me say that was a fun episode, I'll feel like a kid on Saturday morning next week again, I'm a happy camper. That's really all I want at the end of the day. And man, I just can't believe that probably come next year when it's all said and done, because I imagine season 8 would be the last, because I think My Hero has like a handful of chapters left in the manga before it's all done. I imagine season 8 will probably be the end. It's crazy to think that this show's been such an important part of my life in terms of having fun with anime that we actually are reaching the conclusion, but what a brilliant conclusion it seems to be. Now, of course, those are my feelings. Let me know what you're thinking, especially if you're anime only. How are you feeling about the endgame so far? Let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell so you know if I went up a little more. And like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we have Ryuki, Beatrice, Zuda, Jonathan Bromelo, Purple Kush, Rerun, and Azop. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. Y'all have a good one.